Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MT Predictor software program. In today's video I'd like to look at some of the Elliott Wave tools we have available in our MT Predictor software program, and as an example I'd like to look at the NQ on the 3-minute chart from yesterday, which was the 16th of September. So let's go back to this pivot here, which was just before 12 o'clock. And have a look at what our Elliott Wave tool was saying at the time. This is very easy to use. Basically, we hover over any pivot, right mouse click, and you can see we have an option of minor, intermediate or major. I tend to use intermediate most of the time because they are the swings that are on the chart and the most relevant to that time frame. So if I do Elliott Wave intermediate, you can see the routine then looked at this pattern and said that this is a potential wave 4. It also placed our wave 4 WPT, which is our Fibonacci cluster for the different Elliott Wave patterns, or the most common ones, and you can see that we actually were right in the wave 4 WPT. If we go forward one bar, it looks like this wave 4 is now in and the market's likely to rally. So that's okay, being able to analyze a pivot as the pivots form, but what about if you want to project in advance areas of where different Elliott Wave patterns are likely to end? Well, for this we have another tool. It's what we call our wave price targets, or WPT. We have them for most of the common waves, for both up and down. So let's, in this example, try and project where a wave 5 is likely to terminate, assuming that we've now got a wave 4 ending here. For this we need to make several clicks on the chart. They're highlighted by that little picture there. So I select wave 5. We also have a tool tip down here to help you. So we've first click at the beginning of wave 1, the second click at the end of wave 1, third click at the end of wave 2, fourth click at the end of wave 3, then the last click at the end of wave 4, and as you can see here it projects these levels for you. These are clusters of Fibonacci ratios based on the important swings within the prior sequence. They're clustered together for you and then placed on the chart in easy to see zones. So here you can see that the most likely area of where this wave 5 is likely to end is the typical wave 5, which is up here. So let's just scroll forward. The market moves around a bit and then reaches this particular typical wave 5 level here. I'll just take the minimum off just so we don't confuse matters. So this is an area of where the market is likely to end. Or I should say this wave 5 rally is likely to end. If we skip forward a little bit, you can see the market makes a high, then starts to come back down again. But look where it terminated, right at that typical wave 5 WPT. Remember, that was on the chart in advance before the market even got there. Let's clear everything off and just confirm that by again going over this pivot, right mouse click, do Elliott Wave intermediate, and you can see there's the sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the typical wave 5 WPT nailing the high absolutely perfectly. I'll just take that minimum off so it doesn't confuse us. Now after the completed or the end of a completed 5-wave sequence, we're then likely to go back to the DP from the prior wave 4. So we go back to this wave 4, right mouse click, place the decision point level on. So that's an area we know in advance that the market is likely to go to after a wave 5 sequence is completed. So let's go forward a little bit further. See the market goes down a bit, it then starts to rally back up a bit now. You can see here we are rallying back up, and it looks like it's now made another pivot high here. So let's have a look at this pivot high here. So we right mouse click, do Elliott Wave intermediate again. This looks like it's a wave 2 or B. We say 2 or B because this could be the start of a wave 3 or could be the start of a wave C. That's why we say this is a wave 2 or B. But look where the pattern or the pivot unfolded, right in our wave 2 or B WPT. So let's now project in advance areas where this new swing down is likely to unfold. This may well be a wave C swing because we're after a completed 5-wave sequence here. So let's now go to our WPT again. This case do down, and this case do a wave C. You can see here we now need 3 clicks. Beginning of wave A, which would be here. Now the end of the wave A, which would be here. The end of the wave B, which would be here. And again, you can see these levels are on the chart in advance. They're ready for us before the market even gets there. The most likely area is, as it says, the typical, in other words, the typical wave C. But the interesting thing here is, can you see how this typical wave C is also in the area of the DP from the prior wave 4, which is where the move off the end of a 5-wave sequence is likely to end. So this now becomes a very interesting area of where we're looking for a potential reversal. Now notice how, again, this is on the chart in advance. The market hasn't even got there, so you know about this level well before the market gets there. Let's take that one off to avoid confusion. Let's see what the market does. It goes forward, it goes forward. We have a TS4 buy setup here, but we're not quite at this level. We go forward a bit, we go forward a bit. That TS4 buy setup wasn't triggered because the high wasn't taken out. We're now right at the level of the typical wave CWPT and this DP level. We also have a high volume VSA spike coming in here as well. So this is an area that's starting to get really interesting where a reversal is likely to happen. We then move forward, we then get our blue buy bar, so we can now place the analysis on this TS4, and that's where we think the market will now reverse to and go up to this particular level for a potential trade of 3.7R. Remember, we use correct position sizing to keep our initial risk small under control, and in this case less than 2% of a sample $20,000 account. And if the market gets up to this level here, the profit would be approximately 3.7 times greater than that initial risk. If I turn training mode off, you can see that's exactly what the market did, nailing that low absolutely perfectly as the market then rallies up to that target there for a nice 3.7R profit. But do you see how we were not only able to identify the Elliott wave patterns at the pivots as they were coming in, but we were also able to place WPTs on the chart in advance to give you areas in advance of where the market was likely to reverse. If I clear this off, wouldn't it be nice if we could have a short trade off this high here as well? Now, I don't normally suggest trying to catch the end of a wave 5 because it's the end of a trend. Trends are normally difficult to catch the end of. But what if we had another reason why the market was potentially reversing up at this wave 5 area? Well, if we go out to our 15-minute chart, if we go back to our prior pivot here, which would have been the high of the previous day, we place the DP on. Can you see now we had a higher time frame resistance area coming in, if I go back to the 3-minute chart, right at the same level as our wave 5 high. I'll just take that minimum off again to avoid the confusion. But can you see that? So we had at the end of a 5-wave sequence on the 3-minute chart, but also coming in at higher time frame 15-minute resistance. So that was a reason why the market was likely to reverse that level. So now you can use the DP from that prior wave 4 to build a trade setup off the end of the wave 5. So now we can use our manual risk reward tool to build a trade around that red sell bar there that's coming at the typical wave 5 WPT and the decision point level down into this DP here. And again, remember, we use correct position sizing to keep our initial risk small and under control, and the profit on the way down there was a very nice 3.1R. So hopefully that's been a good example to show a potential trade off the end of that wave 5. So is that the only reason to catch the end of or trade off the end of a wave 5, a higher time frame resistance? Well, wouldn't it be nice if we also had a automatic DP or an automatic MT predictor sell? In this case, there was an automatic DP sell here on the Russell Index, which, as you can see, was also at higher time frame resistance. If I now do right mouse click here, place the Elliott wave intermediate on, can you see how now this was also a 5-wave sequence, this time reversing at the minimum wave 5 WPT. So here we had a 5-wave sequence, an automatic MT predictor trade setup, all unfolding at higher time frame resistance. So this was a good one to then place the automatic analysis on and do an automatic trade off that there. And as you can see, the market did exactly as we had in the NQ, where the market came down to the DP of the prior wave 4, which was the target of that DP sell. Again, correct position sizing there, in this case selling 2 contracts. The profit down at this target here was a very nice 3.6R profit. So can you see now how you can use the Elliott wave tool in MT Predictor to build potential trade setups as well as identify market swings. But in particular, if we go back to the NQ, can you see how you can actually identify the Elliott wave pattern at the time as the pivot's coming in by doing our right mouse click, Elliott wave intermediate. Here you can see it found an ABC coming down to that low, with the low coming in at the typical wave CWPT. So not only does it find the pattern at the pivot, but also gives you the areas, these WPT levels, where the reversals are most likely to happen. In this case, the typical wave CWPT, you also have the minimum there as well. But we also took a look at the WPT tool, which was able to then project in advance just the WPTs, or wave price target reversal areas, in advance of where the waves are likely to reverse. That's how, once we had our wave 4 low coming off here, that's how we were able to project in advance our most likely area of where that rally was likely to end as well. And that's exactly what unfolded. So hopefully you can see in today's video some example of some of the more advanced Elliott wave tools we have in the MT Predictor software program that allows you to not only look at the pattern on the market, but also catch the areas of where the different Elliott wave patterns are likely to reverse, but also be able to project those targets in advance as well. So it's a tool that's very handy if you are incorporating Elliott wave analysis into your MT Predictor trade setups as well.